monster cockroaches. At the point, when I say, a major cockroach issue, I mean it in both potential feelings of the expression. This story is about a dingy inn, with a major issue with some exceptionally large cockroaches. People have lived in California for something like 15,000 years. In 1848, the United States procured the region that would one day become the province of California for $15 million. California, popular for Hollywood, the Golden Gate Bridge, and its quakes, is the most crowded state in the association, and the third biggest in region after Alaska and Texas. Outside the huge urban areas lie incredible stretches of desert, mountains, and woods. In spite of the amount of individuals, there's a lot of room in California for mysterious animals. It was the last part of the 1990s, and Peggy was getting drained on her long ride from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. An intriguing-looking inn sat on a slope in California City, roughly somewhere between Bakersfield and Barstow, and Peggy chose to settle down in the spot for what she trusted would be a quiet night's rest. This, nonetheless, was unquestionably not to be the situation. Peggy would later depict the scene as horrible in a meeting with Jason Offutt. It was later that very evening, and Peggy had settled herself into her comfortable room, previously going about lazily seeing whatever was on television, when somebody thumped on the door, moving toward the door and opening it to the furthest extent that she could without unfastening the chain. She could hear a male voice requesting to be given some bedcloth, yet couldn't see anything at that point. As she kept on looking down the passage for the source of the voice, she reached the hard halting acknowledgement at what precisely she was looking at. There was no human that could have expressed those words, yet what there was, rather, was a tremendous cockroach. This animal was standing, and was cleaning its legs excitedly. It was about 6.5 feet tall. As she saw it, it apparently saw her too. Upon realizing that it was being watched, the awful animal spit an earthy-colored substance towards her. Naturally scared, Peggy shouted, provoking the brutish bug to utter the word "why." She gave no reaction, and decided her best option was to get past the beast. She opened the door and ran down the passageway, passing the drooped body of a shocking inn worker. The massive cockroach stood a few doors down from her. Similarly, as she was trying to run past the creature, the terrible critter grabbed her and took hold of her cotton dress. It wrapped its multiplied pointed hands around her wrists, and its cheaty noose receiving wires brushed against her face. Peggy's vision began to dim as fear took hold of her. Nevertheless, without a moment to spare, she recollected an activity film that she had recently seen, and chose to copy one of the moves performed by Chuck Norris. She dropped her body down and kicked the animal's lower legs out from under it with her sneakers, and also kicked it in the face just in case. Staggering to her feet, Peggy took off running. In a second, the cockroach was on its feet, or legs, and kept pursuing its alarmed prey. It was almost upon her as she arrived at the door towards the end of the passage. She opened it up as fast as possible, before quickly turning and pummeling the door shut onto one of the beast's radio wires. The animal gave out a sharp yell of a pain so hard nothing Peggy had at any point heard previously or since. As Peggy cleared the lodging and ran out into the chilly evening air, a young fellow who happened to be at a close-by payphone saw the immense cockroaches running after her. Obviously not believing his eyes, he quickly called the police. In a flash, 2 squad cars rushed onto the scene, inciting the freak monsters to leave. Peggy completed her story by saying how rapidly creepy crawl eyes can breed, and by raising discussions she'd purportedly had with local people nearby. They said that they'd been seeing things fluttering behind trees, in this manner driving Peggy to contemplate that whether the Goliath cockroach that had chased her that one night were presently running wild in the Californian wilderness.
갑자기 내게 나타나준 너, 난 아무 말도 할 수가 없었지.